Good morning, thank you. I think we're about ready to start this session. I'm Marianne Wu, I'm president of GE Ventures, and I want to welcome you to day 2 of the 2018 Israel Dealmakers Summit. So congratulations and thank you to Landmark for convening such a great event. They've really brought together a wonderful set of entrepreneurs, a set of corporates, a set of investors so that we can really come together and make deals and collaborate. So thank you and congratulations to Landmark. And they've really put together a great agenda. So I'm really excited for the program that's set up today. Throughout the day, we are going to do some deep dives with executives across corporates, with entrepreneurs, and with investors to really understand key trends that are disrupting industry today. So really look forward to that programming. As president of GE Ventures, I'm really excited to work with the Israel Dealmakers Summit, and for a couple of different reasons. One, they really build bridges. If you look at this program, it's fundamentally about building bridges between entrepreneurs, between corporates, and between investors. And they further that by really building the bridges between Israel and Silicon Valley. So really excited to work with you today. And then I'm especially excited to lead this opening session, which is all about catalyzing growth. So to kick us off, I wanted to start with sharing some of our perspectives from GE Ventures. If we could bring up the slides. Oh, perfect. So, I've been asked to talk about catalyzing growth. That's the topic of this morning's session. So I've been asked to talk about that. And between Silicon Valley and Israel, innovation is really near constant. It's really part of the fabric that has made these two regions so vibrant. But what changes is what that innovation is focused on, how it's applied, how we extract value, and who we work with along the way to maximize those outcomes. One of the key trends that we see today is that digital and innovation is deeply penetrating what you might call more traditional industry. So areas that tech has not been so deeply, I think we're okay. Areas that tech has not so deeply penetrated before. And so corporate VCs can be a great partner as entrepreneurs and startups start to penetrate those industries. We can help scale growth, and we can really help the industry succeed and transform. So to kick things off, it's, I think, worth taking a look at our macro environment. We are in a world of constant change. Most of us in this room really like to think about technology and innovation. And I think the rate of change in technology has been near constant. As one just micro example, oh, sorry, can people not hear me? It sounds so loud on stage, so can you guys hear now? Okay, so as one just example of the rate of technology progress and change, I wanted to take a moment and look at automotive and artificial intelligence. These are, I think, really key topical themes in the industry today, and they're important themes at this conference. So if you just kind of look back at the rate of change, in 2004, DARPA launched the first grand challenge, and this was a challenge for autonomous vehicles to navigate a 150-mile course through the California desert. No traffic, no pedestrians, no issues, just drive 150 miles through the California desert. In 2004, not a single entrant completed that challenge, and the furthest anybody got was 7 miles, just over 7 miles. So if you flash forward to where we are today, autonomous vehicles are a constant fixture on the roads locally through Silicon Valley. The technical challenges have been virtually solved. We still have maybe some regulatory and business challenges before we launch, but the rate of technology progress has been astounding. And that progress has keyed up fundamental innovations much more broadly through the ecosystem as well. So you see a whole scale of technology disruption supporting that, from sensors and AI and edge and IoT and cyber. You see new business models and industries being disrupted, new insurance models coming up, new value chains being created on the basis of the change in the the automotive infrastructure. You see knock-on effects in terms of industry, in terms of urban infrastructure, in terms of planning, and the way consumers will interact. So that one very profound technological change has massive spin-off and knock-on effects. And part of what we're seeing in the world is as we become more connected, as we become more interconnected, we see technology progressing very rapidly, but we also see much broader facets of our society changing as well. We have behavioral, social, and cultural dynamics that are changing in the whole landscape around that has effects on politics, and certainly our economic interconnectedness is increasing as well. So the key point is that I think we all feel like the pace of change is so fast, but what we see going forward is that the pace of change will never be as slow as it is today. So we're escalating, we're accelerating, and we have the opportunity to lean into that change. At GE, we call this VUCA, that the world is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And so sometimes that's scary, but I think as entrepreneurs, we see that as real opportunity, and we have the opportunity to lean in and really drive change behind that. So as part of that, then it's no surprise that innovation has moved from peripheral to foundational. And this may seem a little bit odd in this audience because innovation has always been foundational to venture, to entrepreneurs. But what we see changing in the landscape is that entrepreneurship and innovation is proliferating every aspect of corporations and regions. It's gone from a nice to do to a must have. One of the things GE does is a global innovation barometer. We just did our 6th one. We surveyed 2,000 executives across 20 countries. We did not participate in this directly. We did this with a third-party agency just to understand the state of innovation broadly. And there were a couple key things that popped out. One is that emerging markets are really on the rise. So one, their economic weight has really increased. They have gone from this I need to look up, I'm sorry. They have gone from 40%, 60% of the global economy compared to 40% 20 years ago. So their economic might is really increasing, but they're also much, much more engaged around technology and innovation, and they're poised, they're embracing and leapfrogging. The second is that multinationals have gotten much better at innovation. I think traditionally we think of corporates as slow and sort of rigid, and I think certainly there's still elements of that are true. But multinationals are, as I said at the beginning, we really see digital and innovation deeply penetrating traditional industry. And as part of that, we see multinationals changing the way they operate to embrace innovation much more deeply. That's really part of what GE Ventures' mandate is to do, is to help the business partner with startups and innovations, and we're excited to work with you on that. And finally, maximizing return on innovation. Innovation is fundamentally about driving outcomes and measuring and rewarding success. Cultures that measure and reward success are the greatest stewards to do that. So as corporates, and I've talked about this a little bit, in terms of the desire and partnership of corporates to work with startups and innovations, we are well positioned to solve complex world problems. And together with entrepreneurs, we can really drive change across industry. What we have that is, especially when you think about traditional industries, we have expertise and deep market insight into our respective industries. We have large commercial base of operations that offers access to customers, data, and ecosystems. We have position that allows us to see the different intersections between different industries, and we have scale that offers the ability to leverage and expand startups. So we really see our role as marrying innovation, with the corporate innovation teams, GE Ventures. We really see our role as bridging innovation from the startup community externally and leveraging that and marrying that with the scale of GE to really transform change, that we can really disrupt and drive industrial scale change. So as part of that, our role within the organization continues to evolve. So a lot of people think of corporate venture as purely venture investing, and that's a core piece of what corporate venture does. Obviously, we invest in startup companies, but that's not where it stops. That's just the beginning of what we do. So as corporate venture capitalists, We invest in startups so that we are shared in our goals and objectives. Then what we can do on top of that is really drive value to those portfolio companies. One, by building this bridge that I talked about to marry the scale, to marry sort of the impact and the scale back into the business units by supporting commercial relationships, and then also providing best-in-class knowledge and practices to those business units. So at GE, we have large industrial businesses in healthcare, in aviation, in transportation, in energy, and those are industries that we can marry with you to really amplify scale. We're a huge corporate, so we can be a huge customer to you. And then we also have best practices around HR, around financing and marketing, around team building, and we can share those with you. And then in addition to that, corporate venture is really becoming a model for transformation of the parent itself through understanding new business models, through understanding new cultures, and changing the mindset. And so corporate venture is really growing in its scale and impact in terms of changing the large corporate parent and helping those startups grow and be successful. Wanted to take a minute to talk about, importantly, where we invest. The thing that we are unified, the overarching theme that GE Ventures believes in is that digital is disrupting the broad economy, and that there are opportunities that there are massive industries are now being transformed by the penetration of digital. I gave the micro example of automotive at the beginning, but we see those same changes around mobility broadly, around the whole energy infrastructure, around healthcare and life sciences, and how digital and data and AI are disrupting that, and manufacturing and supply chain. These are industries that are fundamentally transforming. And they're fundamentally transforming because we have these key advances in digital. So we invest in both of the applications as well as those underlying technologies. And some of those technologies are certainly cloud and IoT, analytics and edge and security. And then the new emerging capabilities around geospatial, AR, VR, blockchains, speech and vision. These are all really critical applications and technologies to GE, and these are things that we seek to partner with all of you on. So in closing, I think there is a massive opportunity here as we have wholesale industries under disruption because of digital. And we have an opportunity to work together to marry the entrepreneurship and innovation and agility of startups together with the scale and the breadth of corporates like GE. We really want to work together with you to be heroes of impact. Thank you for your time this morning.